As we all know, Justice Ginsburg had a huge impact on the court and American life. Tributes pouring in for her this morning. Terry Moran joins us now. He's just outside the Supreme Court with more on her life and her legacy. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Robin. It's a somber but emotional scene here. People gathering all weekend to say goodbye to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's expected that Justice Ginsburg will lie in repose here in the Great Hall of the Supreme Court. A private ceremony is expected for her fellow justices and the court staff. There may be a public viewing, perhaps out here on the Supreme Court Plaza, to be socially distanced. And then she'll be laid to rest later in the week at Arlington National Cemetery next to her beloved husband, Marty. Her long and historic journey coming to a close appropriately, where the nation honors so many of our heroes. Inside the Supreme Court this morning, Justice Ginsburg's seat on the bench draped in black, and a black drape hanging over the courtroom doors as the makeshift memorial outside grows and the tributes continue, including this from former President Bill Clinton, who appointed Ginsburg to the High Court in 1993.
In a time where people are so cynical, Ruth Ginsburg symbolizes everything that's best about America.
And President Trump responding to reporters minutes after a rally Friday in Minnesota, offering his praise for a justice who openly scorned him.
Whether you agreed or not, she was an amazing woman who led an amazing life.
Ruth Ginsburg's life was indeed astonishing. Barely 5 feet tall, she became a giant of American law and American life through the sheer force of her intellect and her determination.
All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
She was just the second woman named to the Supreme Court. Her path to the highest court in the land, not an easy one. A brilliant law student, first at Harvard, then at Columbia, she faced discrimination after graduating in 1959.
She was tied for first in her class, and the big New York City law firms just weren't hiring women.
So she turned to civil rights law and argued and won 5 cases at the Supreme Court that revolutionized the law for women in America before taking her spot on the High Court bench in 1993.
The increasingly full use of the talent of all of this nation's people holds large promise for the future. But we could not have come to this point, and I surely would not be in this room today without the determined efforts of men and women who kept dreams alive, dreams of equal citizenship, in the days when few would listen.
In her quarter century as a justice, Ginsburg became a leader of the liberal wing on the court with powerful rulings on discrimination, voting rights, and abortion.
This is something central to a woman's life, to her dignity. It's a decision that she must make for herself.
She formed an unlikely close friendship with a strong opponent, Justice Antonin Scalia. And as the court shifted to the right, her fierce dissents inspired generations. The Notorious RBG, she came to be known, a cultural icon unlike any other.
I am 84 years old and everyone wants to take a picture with me.
She died Friday battling cancer, as she had for 2 decades. Her incomparable legacy was to give new, greater meaning to those words engraved right there on the Supreme Court itself: equal justice under law. A remarkable life indeed. Ruth Ginsburg was once asked what the best advice she ever had was. She said it was from her mother-in-law on her wedding day. It helps sometimes, her mother-in-law told her, in every marriage to be a little deaf. She had a marvelous marriage. There's probably wisdom in that, George.
A little bit of that sure is, Terry. And Terry, you covered, of course, Justice Ginsburg for so many years at the Supreme Court. What's your personal remembrance?
You know, I remember that this diminutive woman who seemed so quiet in some ways, the word I associate with her is strength. She was one of the strongest minds I've ever encountered, both in person and in her rulings and on the bench. And she was a formidable colleague for her justices and questioner of the people in the oral arguments. But there's something else that she brought to that bench. She was a living example of how much good the law can do to change America for the better. She reminded me a little bit of Thurgood Marshall that way. She is a living link to a time when the law was changed to make a difference in this country.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.